Wake Forest looking for a ground game to help compete in the ACC. We bring in Robert Reinhard to help break down the Wake Forest running back position. Robert, it's always a pleasure. Let's talk about the youth that you had there, but it's now experienced youth with guys like Tyler Bell, who led the team in rushing as a freshman, 451 yards, 3.5 per carry. A couple nice games late in the year against Duke and against Notre Dame. Matt Colburn also with significant playing time. Can you kind of set us up in regards to what to expect and what these backs bring to the table?
Yeah, I think those two are some promising players. Bell definitely exceeded my expectations last year. He wasn't, that highly regarded coming out of high school, but he was productive last year, and as you mentioned, had some good games towards the tail end of the season. And then with Colburn, he was there was a lot of national news about his commitment to Louisville, and then given a gray shirt offer towards the end of the season, or right around National Signing Day. But fortunately, Wake Forest was able to capitalize on that and give him an opportunity. So he had 66 carries, so he got into the rotation a decent amount. So I think those two will definitely be in the mix for the starting role. But I think no matter who wins the starting role, you're going to see a lot of running back by committee. And hopefully that allows them to keep their legs fresh, and hopefully we get plenty of snaps and handoffs, because I don't mean the running game is being effective. And I think the offense Wake wants to play one that's has some tempo to it, but also just control the clock and control the ground game. And if they could run at will, I think that's what they would choose to do first.
Yeah, before we came on, you mentioned Isiah Robinson, a kid as a sophomore who gained 120 yards, no scores, 175 as a freshman with 3 touchdowns back in 2014. Probably going to need some help to get into the mix. But in regards to guys that we haven't seen on the field for Wake Forest, a number of guys that are interesting prospects that could push for playing time right out of the gate. I know you're pretty high on Arkeem Byrd, who's rated the 47th best back coming out of high school out of Savannah, Georgia. Cade Carney, kind of a bruising back who you got to look at in the spring, and also Rocky Reed, who had a red shirt this past season.
Yeah, I think those are 3 intriguing prospects. And for the first time in a while, when you combine those guys along with Tyler Bell, Matt Colburn, and Isiah Robinson, as you mentioned, is that we're able to hedge our bets a little bit, for lack of a better term. We're not just going to be relying on, if one of these 2 guys hits, well, now we have, 5 or 6 guys where we can say, okay, maybe if just 1 or 2 of those guys hit. So we have a better talent pool. But yeah, those 3 are exciting prospects. Cade Carney, was really impressed with him, with what I saw of him in the scrimmages and in the spring game. During spring practice, he was an early enrollee, a very physical player, had a really high Nike Spark rating that they do at the different recruiting events in high school. And he's really going to compete for some playing time in short yardage situations, but he can also make some plays in the open field. And then more along the lines of the open field, Arkeem Byrd, as you mentioned, he can make guys miss in the open space, which is something Wake has truly missed in a back, and really any playmaker. And I think, honestly, it's possible that he's the best of that, of any of the running backs that will be on the roster. So he could play as a true freshman in that role. And then Rocky Reed, really highly regarded player coming out of high school in the 2015 recruiting class. Got a little banged up with injury last year in fall camp, so he was redshirted. But he's another player who, we may not use him that much, but I think he's a really interesting wild card for sure, and could be a very productive player for us this year and help us gain some critical first downs in short yardage situations.
So we've got young players with experience in crucial games and ACC games, in Bell and Colburn in particular. We've got a lot of depth and actually highly rated guys with Reed, Byrd, and Carney as well. So an interesting running back situation. These guys just need to get a little push up front to make things happen. Robert Reinhard from Blogger So Dear helping us out with the Wake Forest running back situation. Thank you, Robert.
Hey, thank you.